We are happy to announce that this episode of the SWW show is partially brought to you by Humble Bundle. Well, not really. We are part of the Humble Bundle referral program, and we just wanted to say that if you like really cheap games and maybe helping charity pending the Humble thing going on, all you have to do is go to humblebundle.com/partner equals SWW. That's right, humblebundle.com/partner equals SWW. And you just do your normal stuff, and it just kind of helps us get a couple bucks here and there. Maybe it helps AJ get his lights, maybe it's Mike camera, maybe we actually pay Corey for helping us out. But again, if you're going to go buy games anyway, it might be worth checking out. Hello everyone, and welcome back to these interview episodes of the SWW show. I'm Mike, and today with me a special guest from, well, it can't be that far away, we're pretty close time zone-wise. To get us started, do you mind introducing your really short game name and your name?
I'm Trevor, and I'm the sole developer of, if it's for my client, I'd even schedule a Demon Lord. But yeah, that is a very long game title. I usually just call it schedule to shorten things out.
I'm actually kind of curious, if you don't mind. So, obviously we just talked right before this, and you said that, some of Steam doesn't like how long a game is, and I'm not actually sure that the title limits on Steam's, backend. But, did you realize how long of a name it was until you started typing it out everywhere and you went, oh no? Or I'm just very curious on that thought as we get into the game.
So the game itself is kind of parodying anime and light novels a fair bit. So I actually titled it as a parody of a light novel title, which those titles are very long. And most game titles just are not that long. So as a result, when I was entering it into Steam, it worked fine going into every spot where it asked me to fill in fields. It didn't give me any issues. And in most of the UI, it's actually okay. But there have been a couple of places where I've seen it run over the text length. I can't remember offhand, but yeah, there are a few places where that is a bit of an issue.
It was just funny looking at it. It was like one of those, so long. But I'm actually curious. So what is your background, and kind of where did you end up? You said this game's kind of making fun of that certain types of games. Kind of what is your background, and where did your idea from this game come from?
So I got into video games at a very young age, some of my earliest memories, and they've always kind of stuck with me. So I actually went to university for computer science, but I was always doing it with the intention of making video games. So I've actually been making video games for a very, very long time, and this is my third release under the name Night Stroll Studio. And I like to make things that are different, and I hadn't seen a game about calendars before. I originally was planning on making a minimalistic kind of game, kind of like, say, Mini Metro or something along those lines. But a friend of mine was like, this lacks personality when I was doing some of my early testing. So I actually ended up tripling my development time on this game, and it's probably not going to pay off.
To be fair, that's everyone's, I was going to say first game, it's everyone's every game. Every game is always 3 times over budget, but 3 times shorter than what you wanted. That's just a rule of thumb.
Yep.
So you said your early work had some problems getting personality and stuff in them, kind of. What changed you? Because obviously it sounds like the way you're talking, you at least think this game has personality. It looks like it's personality. So I'm kind of curious, was it just when you changed genres, you kind of found that personality that worked, or kind of where did that come from?
Well, like I said, I was trying to make a minimalist game from this originally. The calendar was the intention, but most people look at a calendar and they're kind of bored by them. So my friend suggested having some characters pop up and occasionally say things to you. And so what I ended up having to do is building in a lot of event text. I actually wrote a really long script for the main story of the game, which took me probably about half of my development time on it, to be honest. Because there's just so much text in here, right? Because it's all just like calendar entries, right? So just adding some flavor to the calendar and it just not just being like event number 1, just really, really made a huge difference. And then as I was adding some themes to it, you started to get some like identity to it in like the fantasy space and some characters. Some of them are a little bit eccentric.
I was gonna say it does seem kind of very like eccentric and like looking at it because you said the calendar by itself is like it's a calendar, right? Everyone has an idea what a calendar looks like, kind of function. I do want to call out someone if you want to talk about characters with personality on your Steam page, which I have just kind of floating in the background on my screen. There is this one character who has a nice purple gloop monster with them. Do you mind what is going on here? Are they friends? What is going on with this? I'm trying to get an idea of like people like what when we see this game as character. There's some uniqueness immediately in the like screenshots.
Yeah. So that character is called a Globin. It's actually one of the enemies in my previous game, Fae: A Tale of Shadow. And I liked the idea of having a sort of slime monster as a character in the game still. Because you don't think like, oh, how am I going to be like making a schedule for a slime? And actually, like all of your interactions with the slime is just the slime going like glob, gloop. So his schedules are actually a little bit more difficult because they don't give you like context clues. Like other characters will be like, this is my bedtime, and the slime's just like glob.
The slime's like, I just exist. It is now time. It is slime time. I don't know what else they call it.
Yeah, that's about right.
That's actually an interesting thought. I never thought when you're trying to make like people's schedules like when we talk about this game of personality, I'm assuming a lot of personality is like looking at their individual calendar and being like, oh, this person, what do they do here in this weird block? I'm kind of curious, like how did your like when you're making these, how did that kind of go through your head? Were you just like, okay, I want these archetypes in it, or you just like, I'm gonna write a character and just kind of see where they go?
So I kind of had an idea for the overarching storyline pretty quickly when I came up with the idea of like, oh, I'll be scheduling a demon lord. So I always kind of knew like that's kind of where like the game would head into a fantasy space. But from a gameplay perspective, the player, you wanted them to start with something more familiar. So the original, like the early calendars in the game are all just a normal 365-day calendar, right? And the later ones are fantasy based, and they need to have a progression to get to that space. So as would be kind of standard in a lot of the like RPG genre, like especially earlier games, the Demon Lord type character is always like your last thing. So I always knew that I had to work up to that, but starting from somewhere very normal. So a lot of the stuff in between just kind of is a natural build into that from both a gameplay and a story perspective.
It's very interesting. Obviously your game is very character based. I don't want to spoil all the characters people. Is there some character you meet early on you want to talk about kind of so people get an idea of like here's someone you might meet kind of throughout this adventure?
I've got some good characters to so I think probably one of my favorite ones to work on is around the early middle-ish of the game. His name is Yasiel Cavins. He's a detective. Actually, it's a joke about Sherlock Holmes, really. But yeah, he's got some very eccentric lines. And I really enjoyed writing the comedy for him, and some of his scenes are probably a little bit longer because of that. And I suppose like really early in the game, there's a doctor who keeps losing her stethoscope, which is just funny.
That's pretty good. That's one of those you're like, that seems like how hard could that be to not lose it? And you're like, oh no.
Yeah, Yeah, observant players will always be able to find her stethoscope.
That's actually that's pretty good. I would give you that one. So with all this in mind, kind of as we said, that's the player. They're going through this kind of interactive experience. Like it is a game, but it's kind of like I think like in a different, less actiony kind of terms in that one.
Yeah.
How long could a kind of player expect this experience to last? Kind of, and kind of what are those kind of top line stuff that we're missing?
So through my play testing, my puzzles, they range anywhere from a few seconds to probably like an hour or two of like play time. So it kind of depends on where you're at in the game. If you've ever played a Picross game, the early puzzles are like incredibly short and the later ones are very long. It does kind of have that flow to it. Um, I kind of think of it as like half logic puzzle, half jigsaw puzzle. So like when you get to the really big puzzles, they can feel like doing like a 400 or 500 piece jigsaw puzzle, and some of the earlier ones are just like, this is the trick to this. Um, and there's definitely a mix in there. So sometimes you'll encounter a puzzle where you're just kind of going along, and then you're like, there was a little bit of a trick here, and I need to figure out how this works to keep going.
No, that's I think that's very cool, very interesting kind of. So as we said, the game we're talking about here, so I have it right, so I say it right. If it's for my client, I'd even schedule a Demon Lord. So as we're talking, also the game has been out now for a few days.
It's been a few days, yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious how has the reception been? Is it what you expected? Kind of what has those first few days been like for you?
Well, it's not a commercial success, but it is doing better than my prior two projects, which was what I expected from it. Um, Hopefully, it does pick up over time, but it hasn't been doing badly. Like I said, it's kind of been what I expected of it. Um, but I'm hoping to learn a lot from the release of these earlier games, because I've been working on another game for about 5 years now, and I've not been wanting to release it because I know a lot of indie developers work on a big like passion project like that, and then they release it to zero attention. So I've been trying to, more than anything, learn the marketing of an indie game.
That's very interesting. Would you say you have learned more since your initial work? Kind of how has you felt that your process have been?
Absolutely. Every game I've released has been better than the last as far as both sales and revenue. So I'm just hoping to keep that trend going because I don't want to be holding on to that other game for too much longer. I'm actually hoping to release that one next year. So we'll see how that goes.
Nice. Well, I will say best of luck. Obviously, always that like when especially you have that dream game, that's always the stressful one. So, 100%
Yeah.
best of luck kind of in that process. So again, the game we talked about is if it's for my client, I'd even schedule a Demon Lord. You are Night Stroll Studio. Is there any other
Yeah.
spot we should be sending people to go check out your work or the game?
So my upcoming projects are always shown first on my website, nightstrollstudio.com, where you can see actually the name of the game that it will be released hopefully next year, which is Quest for the Pinnacle. But if you want updates on the thing that I'm currently working on, you'll find those mostly on my Twitter, which is at Nightstroll SDIO because the full name is too long. Common problem for me, apparently.
Perfect. Well, thank you again for your time today, and best of luck on continued success of the game, and best of luck continuing the tail into the next one, because as you were well aware, that back half's always the worst of any game. So
Yeah, just that getting to that final release day is tough because you end up having to like really push just to get that last line done, but did
that's
it.
game development. So, but yeah,
Yep.
Thank you for spending time with me today, and have a good rest of your evening.
Yeah, thank you.
The SWW show and all of its affiliate podcasts are podcast by me, Mike Maroney, and AJ Losi, sometimes by contributors, including Corey King. You can follow the SWW show on social media at the SWW show, or sooner or later you go to patreon.com/SWW to help us out. Thank you. We hope you enjoy the rest of your day.